We have to stop the war in Gaza.
Sta assumendo forme drammatiche e inaccettabili.
News of the ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hamas was met with celebration.
Diamo lettura del messaggio trasmesso dal signor Presidente
We are
della
now going to read the message from the President of the Italian Republic, Sergio Mattarella, on the occasion of the 11th edition of MED.
By the President of the Italian Republic, Sergio Mattarella, on the occasion of the 11th edition of the Mediterranean Dialogues. The message will be delivered in Italian.
Rivolgo un saluto molto cordiale a tutti i
I
partecipanti.
would like to welcome all the participants in the 11th edition of MED, which is taking place during the celebration for the 2500th anniversary of the foundation of Naples. Now, this initiative confirms the importance of this moment of dialogue among regional actors within a sea that should provide support for everybody. Now, the last years in the Middle East have betrayed this ideal, and they weigh on everybody's conscience. Today, hope is back, and we would like to encourage all operators in order for them to make peace real. We ask this to the European Union, and we know that the path that we have embarked upon is not without its obstacles, and it will need concrete support and action on the part of the international community. In the countries bordering the Mediterranean, there are 1.5 billion people. In this space, peace and stability need to be supported by growth and economic development in the knowledge that safety and health cannot be nourished alone. Economic flows, natural resources, energy resources, both fossil and renewable, are all important elements for productive collaboration. Today, this is the most important focus of this event, and I am sure that this event will bring about important reflections. Thank you very much.
Vice President Tajani, Your Excellencies, distinguished ministers, esteemed colleagues and friends, well, I wish to begin by expressing the gratitude to the President of the Republic, Sergio Mattarella, for his message, which offers a profound reminder of our shared responsibility to make the Mediterranean once again a space of peace and cooperation. Welcome to the 11th edition of the MED, Mediterranean Dialogues, which is co-organized by the Italian Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation and ISPI. We are honored to meet this year in Naples, a city that for 25 centuries has embodied openness, dialogue and exchange across the Mediterranean, the very values that inspire MED. We gather at a moment that finally brings a glimmer of hope to our region. Just days ago, in Sharm el-Sheikh, a long-awaited agreement was signed by leaders from across the world, a step that we all hope will at least end 2 years of tragic conflict and immense suffering in Gaza, Israel, and beyond. The release of prisoners and hostages, as well as the promise of reconstruction and reconciliation, remind us all that even after conflict and pain, dialogue must prevail. It is meaningful that MED 2025 stands as the first major gathering of policymakers and experts after the Sharm el-Sheikh summit. We can therefore give our contribution to the consolidation of peace and cooperation through ideas, dialogue, and shared commitment. Allow me to thank our partners, sponsors, and participants for their continued engagement in this shared endeavor. It is now my great honor to invite to the floor Italy's Vice President of the Council of Ministers and Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Antonio Tajani. Please.
Excellencies, ministers, dear friends, guests, thank you very much for being here in this beautiful town, in this fantastic royal house, part of Italian heritage, but also part of Mediterranean heritage. We are all Mediterraneans. We want to transform this sea in sea of peace. This is our goal, and we want to achieve this goal, working all together. Allow me now to speak in my mother tongue. Questi dialoghi mediterranei
These Mediterranean dialogues
a pochi giorni
are taking place just a few days after the signing
d'accordo per il cessate il fuoco.
of a very important ceasefire agreement in Gaza.
Cessate il fuoco che ha portato alla sospensione
This agreement
del popolo palestinese.
has stopped the suffering of the Palestinian people. It has brought about the end of a war. It has enabled hostages and prisoners to be released.
Quando tutto ormai sembrava perduto.
And it has brought back
Sembrava esserci
hope to the world after a long time.
davanti ai nostri sguardi.
This conflict
Questo è quello che non pensavamo accadesse.
seemed unable to stop.
Non dobbiamo accontentarci del cessate il fuoco perché il
But now
cessate
things have changed. However,
è debole,
the ceasefire is not enough.
tentativi
There will be attempts on the part of extremists to
cessate il fuoco per ricominciare.
disrupt
Una guerra che
the peace we have achieved and to resume a war that
di politici
neither of the two peoples want.
dialogo
Our
è quello di rinforzare
goal as politicians, as people of dialogue is to support the ceasefire and turn it into actual peace. And today we can write an important part of history. The Naples Manifesto is a clear example, is a clear message of peace, and all people who will take part in it, despite having different stances, will have the goal of building peace. Today, we can write history. We can support the US plan, President Trump's plan, to end a horrible period of war that began on the massacre, on the killing, with the killing of Jewish citizens, and proceeded with the killing of Palestinian people. Now we can work together, and our first task, as we have said during various meetings, during our Arab and European interlocutors, but also African interlocutors, is to help the Palestinians. Italy has already decided to send 100 tons worth of food to Gaza, foodstuffs to Gaza. We will keep treating Palestinian children in our hospitals, and we will keep welcoming Palestinian young people for them to be able to study at our universities. And the goal is to support the future policymakers in Palestine. And we also want to support the local population, of course. We want to achieve the goal of establishing a Palestinian country that recognizes Israel for the two peoples to coexist in peace. Nobody should think that Palestinians have no right to a country, and nobody should think that Israel can be erased from the map. Italy is ready to do its part, from a humanitarian standpoint, but also from a reconstruction and healthcare standpoint, which is also very important. We are ready to keep training the Palestinian police. We are ready to take part in peace missions together with our armed forces. Our Carabinieri are in Algiers training the local police, and other Carabinieri are in Rafah taking part in another mission. So that's important. I believe that Italy can give a contribution to this process. Our armed forces are respected by both Palestinians and Israelis, and this will enable them to work well. Our armed forces are respected by Kosovo and Serbia, and they are beloved by all peoples of Bosnia-Herzegovina. We want to help everybody. We want to help peace. We want to serve the countries that are entitled to live in peace. And today, having the Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Palestinian Authority is very important for us. We want the authority to keep leading Palestine towards peace. I have never organized a visit. I have never organized a visit in Israel without organizing a visit to Ramallah. We recognize the role of the National Authority of Palestine. Even in these days, we have appreciated President Abu Mazen's condemnation of Hamas's actions. And we have appreciated the work of all Palestinian authorities Extremists are very dangerous for peace, but we really believe in the work of the Palestinian Authority. President Abu Mazen will be visiting Italy very soon. Prime Minister Mustafa has chosen to visit Europe, and the first leg will be in Italy. And we've spoken, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and I have spoken, and we have spoken about the support that we want to give to the national authority. And we have been working in this regard for a very long time, and we already have projects for the reconstruction of the country. The University of Venice will allocate 60 million euros for a reconstruction project. And we have also engaged in dialogue with Israel. I was the first minister to go to Israel after the events of the 7th of October, and we always said that there should be an appropriate response. And we kept repeating that, but we never cut down bridges. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been able, for example, to carry out the Food for Gaza project, which has enabled us to extend 2,500 tons worth of food to Palestine. And we've done that together with the Israeli government and authorities. And this has enabled us to help the Palestinian population, thanks to the program led by Mrs. McKay, without being intercepted by Hamas. Now we need to work together with all Gulf countries, Egypt, Turkey, and all countries of Muslim Africa to keep building peace. It won't be easy. But the fact that the Israeli Minister of Foreign Affairs will be here today shows that people are willing to engage in dialogue. And this is very important for the Mediterranean area. The Balkan area is also very important for us. The Balkans are a political priority. Since 2022, we have improved our presence in the Balkan area, and we believe that candidate countries have a right to reunification. It is not their fault that they were not included in the European Union right from the outset, because the communist dictatorship was preventing them from making their own decisions. But things have changed now, and Italy will do its best for them to become full members as quickly as possible. Thanks also to the collaboration of our friends from Croatia and Slovenia, who have been part of the European Union for a very long time. We will keep working for all these countries to become part of the European single market. We must not let them down. For too long, European bureaucracy has held things back. Arrogantly so, by the way. Of course, all steps are to be followed, but different countries have different histories, and so you need to accompany them in every sector, in every area. Italy has never worked arrogantly. We have always supported these countries with our know-how. We have a lot of know-how due to the things that we had to do throughout our history, and we want to help our Balkan friends to join the EU. And our armed forces in Montenegro, Bosnia, Herzegovina, Kosovo, Serbia, and Albania, they have been collaborating with local authorities in the spirit of friendship, and the armed forces that work there are integrated within the civil population, the local population. They are considered as friends rather than oppressors. the people who collaborate to the growth of those countries. And this effort can be furthered. And we must also reinforce a win-win effort with African countries. We are all Mediterranean countries. Italy's southernmost point is more to the south than certain areas of Tunisia. And so our dialogue with these countries is very important. So these countries want our help. I have visited many African countries, and in the next days I will be in Niger, in Senegal, and Mauritania, where we have opened an embassy, and we want to remain a reference point for this part of Africa, and we want to serve as a bridge between these countries and the European Union, thereby improving long-standing collaboration. This means that everybody in the Mediterranean must do their part. We also have countries such as the Emirates, Arab Emirates, that Lithuania see that is the continuation of the Mediterranean, so to say, the Red Sea. And hopefully, our navy will be used for purposes other than protecting the lives of our armed forces. The navy has intercepted a lot of drones. They have prevented them to strike our ships. And again, it has helped Italy deliver some products to many different countries. Hopefully, the navy won't be used to protect our ships in the future, and hopefully, the navy will be used to promote peace. So these are the things that we want to keep doing by speaking with you, talking with you, and working with you. Today's event is just a symbol of the friendship between our countries and ministers. So thank you for being here. There will be a lot of interesting debates. I'm glad to see our friends from the Balkans here. They're also part of the Mediterranean, of course. And hopefully the new IMEC corridor that will be opened in India and will reach Trieste will bring about wealth, trade, and new infrastructure that can enable everybody to grow. So, dear friends, we have a lot of things to do. There's a lot of things to do, and we must work hard, and we must bet on our desire to build peace together. This is my hope. So I wish the proceedings every success. Thank you for accepting our invitation. Thanks to INSPI for working together with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to organize this event, which has a very important symbolic value. But it also has a political value due to the presence of ministers here just a few days after the signing of the agreement of Sharm el-Sheikh agreement, which means that we're all working to build an extraordinary path to peace. Thank you. I wish the proceedings every success.